I could honestly say that Sony is cooked. Yes, the Sony that the ponies used to boast about back in the day with exclusives and Sony don't miss. That Sony is no more. Sony is cooked. Now, why would I say Sony is cooked? Could it be that their flagship console, which is the PlayStation 5 Pro, is being outdone by 5-year-old tech?
The bottom line is that Series X enjoys a performance lead over both PS5 machines across the early swamp area and a later bridge section, each of which run closer to the 60 FPS mark. The area-by-area tweaks in ambient shading and GI may well be working to Series X's benefit here, not to mention its 12 teraflop power profile being an existing advantage over base PS5's 10 teraflops. Drops into the 40 to 50 FPS range are possible in that opening string of areas, but overall, Series X does ultimately end up giving VRR displays a higher baseline frame rate to work from.
Wow, wow, wow! Would you look at that? The PlayStation 5 Pro frame rates are dropping like a sack of potatoes. I mean, after me and the Xbox guys saw that happening, I mean, we were like, woo, listen to those melodies, man. Or is it because that Sony would have supported a game for 9 years for it to flop? You know the game I'm talking about. That is Lost Soul Outside. Yes, Sony would have thrown Lost Soul aside outside because this game made an abysmal 57 Metacritic. Wow. I mean, there are so many ponies out there saying that they would have wasted their money buying Lost Soul Aside. But think about this for 1 minute. Sony has experience in knowing what game is a hit and what is not a hit. But we would have seen in this generation that so far they would have been missing the mark. They missed the mark with Concord. They missed the mark with a Marathon, and now they are missing the mark with Lost Soul Aside. So one really has to wonder, is it that the company that these ponies said don't miss is actually missing? Is it that Sony has lost the eye for a good game? Is it that Sony is getting too old in this business?
What about buttered sausage?
That's not your jam. It's not your thing. You don't like it?
It's not my jam. I don't buy jam. I buy honey, and I kiss it on the lips.
Yes, Sony, it looks like you have a triple bifocal, and yet you still couldn't see that Lost Soul Aside was a dud. I am telling you guys that Sony is cooked. Here's why I say Sony is cooked. I have one question for Sony and the PlayStation fans out there. Where are the games? Where are the showcases that showcase Sony's first-party games? I mean, you guys said that they were cooking. You guys said that there are so many games out there coming. Where is Wolverine? Where is any kind of gameplay of Wolverine, any kind of gameplay of the Venom game? Where are you guys' first-party bangers? I mean, it seems that the showcases of old is no more. I mean, it's not only me saying this. Listen to this article.
PlayStation hasn't had a showcase in 2 years. Fans wonder why. Sony just announced its summer 2025 State of Play, and fans are left wondering why there hasn't been a full PlayStation showcase in 2 years. We had an inkling that this year's summer event wouldn't be a full-fledged showcase, as reliable insiders had suggested as much. But now that it's official, one can't help but wonder about the state of PlayStation first-party studios. Last PlayStation Showcase was held in May 2023, and it didn't age well. As I said before, the last PlayStation Showcase was held in May 2023, and when it comes to first-party output, the event aged like milk. One of the highlights of the showcase was Concord, which turned out to be one of the biggest disasters in video game history. Then, there was Marathon, which seems to be in trouble ahead of its September launch. And last but not least, it looks like Fairgames is another disaster in the making. In announcing tomorrow's State of Play, Sony confirmed that it'll highlight a selection of great games from creators across the globe. There's no mention of first-party studios, which isn't exactly a great look. We haven't seen anything new from Insomniac Games. Naughty Dog's Intergalactic is still in early development. No one really knows what Santa Monica Studio is up to. Bend Studio and Bluepoint just had their games canceled. All Sony has left to show is Ghost of Yodiai and Seros for the foreseeable future. So, perhaps, this is our answer. The company has nothing to show to justify a full PlayStation showcase.
He's out of line, but he's right.
So yes, a lot of journalists, a lot of gamers are wondering, what is Sony doing? Why would Sony announce a 007 showcase? Well, their primary focus is 007, and there's so many, unrevealed announcements that they would have done in the past. What is Sony doing? I mean, even MBG is asking this
That's
question.
the question that people have. We're getting a state of play announced for 007. What about people who aren't interested in 007? What about people who are hoping for just either a regular state of play or, dare I say, even a PlayStation showcase? Is that something that we can still expect?
That is why I say Sony is cooked. Sony is cooked, and you guys have to understand that right now they are going to well done. So let's talk about some other reasons why Sony is cooked. Sit back and relax, and let's get it.
This is a sickness!
Let's get it. So as most of you all know, we are on the road to 5,000 subscribers, and no doubt your subscription would aid in doing that. Now, when it is you subscribe to this channel, of course you get some great Xbox news, some great Nintendo news, and we also specialize in the Sony Pony Salt. So if this type of content interests you, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button. Of course, we attempt to make you laugh and have a wonderful day. So hit that like and subscribe button today. Now let's get back to the video. A little over a year ago, Colin Moriarty said this about Xbox.
Xbox trained its own audience to not buy games, cutting off streams of revenue in hopes that Game Pass could meet and exceed expectations.
Yes, if you have been in the gaming streets, you would have known that this is a brain-dead talking point by many ponies. I mean, just look at how many ponies would have repeated what Colin Moriarty would have said about a year ago. Yeah, Xbox players don't buy games. Xbox will have trained their gamers not to buy games. This was the narrative that they were pushing. Yeah, well, this is what they expected when Helldivers 2 would have dropped on Xbox. They were expecting that Helldivers 2 sell maybe a measly 200,000, because again, Xbox players are trained not to buy games, right? Well, guys, after just about some days, these are the numbers for Helldivers 2. Now, if Alina Analytics are correct, they are saying that Helldivers 2 sells an estimated 926,000 copies on Xbox. Gears of War Reloaded sells an estimated 259k copies on PlayStation 5, really undermining the narrative that Xbox players don't buy games. Now, if this stats is correct, it really shows that Sony fans are not buying the games, because these two games were released at the same time, and by far Xbox gamers are buying this game faster than the PlayStation gamers are buying Gears of War Reloaded. Now, it really goes to show how these guys know nothing at all. These guys who have been, pushing all these narratives, Xbox players don't buy games, they know nothing. I don't agree with Jimmy Neutron, with Reforged Gaming, but even he is saying this.
See that Helldivers isn't the most played? Yeah, this doesn't surprise me at all, because last week I was trying to tell people that with the internal player numbers that Arrowhead was putting out, seeing is that Steam hit the same player counts they had hit in the past, which was like 160,000, I was like, I don't think the surge happened on PlayStation. I think there was a surge on PlayStation because PlayStation saw Helldivers skyrocket into the top 10 on the purchased games. So the Halo event and the new War Bond and all the new content certainly caused a bunch of people to check out Helldivers for the first time. But I said, I got news for you guys. I was like, there's a lot of people playing that game on Xbox.
We're back!
It's a database problem, right? I had guys come into my comments like, are you going to talk about this? I'm like, I already have. I was giving Helldivers on Xbox its flowers. I was saying there's seemingly a lot of people playing. I was saying it's probably a server caching issue. It's probably a database issue. That's why you don't see Helldivers in the top. And now it's up there in the top 10. Why a ton of people are playing Helldivers on Xbox.
So even Jimmy Neutron could not outpony this great news. And a matter of fact, it's been reported that Helldivers 2 is the #1 paid game on Xbox. Yes, Xbox fans are showing Sony that guess what? These games would sell on Xbox despite what the ponies are saying. Now, if it is you look at these numbers and these numbers are true, we are seeing that this game on Xbox is tracking faster than Astrobot on PlayStation. Yes, with the install base of 80 million shipped, we are seeing that Astrobot is selling slower than Helldivers 2 on the Xbox. Could you make that make sense to me? So as the PlayStation community see that Sony exclusive games aren't hitting the way it used to hit years prior, as they see Sony put their first party games onto more platforms including Xbox, I mean, no doubt these ponies are singing like this.
You love someone, you just don't treat them bad. Oh, how I feel so sad. She's crying her heart to me, and I just need time to see where I wanna be.
Ponies, you have to come to terms that the Sony that you know has been cooked. And because they are cooked, they have to change up. So stop crying as to where you want to be. I don't want you guys to end up in an insane asylum. So yes, you guys need to just stop your bad and twisted ways, and you guys would see the light at the end of the tunnel. But until then, I would have to discipline you guys into submission. So what do you guys think about all the evidence that are pointing to Sony will bring more games to Xbox? After these numbers, close to 1 million a week, Sony cannot deny that these games are selling on Xbox. But let me hear what you think about everything when it comes to Sony putting their games on Xbox. Finally, let's talk about a game that has a lot of persons in the gaming community talking, because persons are speculating that this is the next Concord. Yes, what game am I talking about? I am talking about Fairgames. Yes, Fairgames is in trouble. We know that the creator of the studio or the founder of the studio would have left, and now it seems like another big wig is walking away from Fairgames. Listen.
PS5 live service game Fairgame Dollar loses another key developer. The game's director has left. Sony's upcoming PS5 and PC live service game Fairgame Dollar has lost another top developer. Game director Daniel Drapeau has left developer Haven Studios to join WB Games Montreal. Haven founder Jade Raymond left the company in May. It was reported at the time that Fairgame Dollar was delayed to 2026 after a playtest proved unfavorable. Drapeau left Haven weeks ago and said in a LinkedIn post that they're joining WB Games Montreal as a creative director for an upcoming project. Let's do this, Drapeau said. Drapeau is a video game industry veteran, having started back in 2006 in testing and internship positions with VMC and Odd One before joining Ubisoft in 2007 as a game designer. Drapeau was later promoted to lead game designer on Rainbow Six Siege before leaving to join Eidos Montreal in 2017 to work on Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Drapeau rejoined Ubisoft in 2019 and worked at the company for 2 years before moving to Haven in 2021. There is no word yet on what Drapeau is working on at WB Games Montreal, but the studio is said to have been pitching a new Game of Thrones game earlier this year. The studio assisted Rocksteady with 2024's underperforming Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and also made 2022's Gotham Knights. As for Haven and Fairgame Dollar, the game is now reportedly coming in spring 2026, putting it in the vicinity of GTA 6 in May 2026.
Wow. So another director walked away from Fairgames. Now it seems like somebody in Sony has to be sniffing glue, because why would you push this game back to 2026 around the same time as GTA 6? That's crazy. That's almost like you guys want this game to fail. This just goes to show that Sony is cooked. This is just crazy. So tell me in the comment sections, how do you like your Sony? Do you like your Sony well done? What about medium rare? How do you like your Sony? Because they are cooked. Let me know in the comment sections below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.